Relevance. 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 Car conversations with myself, Mr. Cage. Today's episode, August the 22nd, I believe it is. Relevance, relevance, relevance. This car conversation is primarily for parents. Secondary for teachers. Thirdly, we're speaking to the administrators too. Relevance, relevance, relevance. This car conversation is relevant to elementary, middle, and high schools. Relevance, man. As I sip the last little bit of my coffee, I'm gonna give you some statements to consider. Some concepts, practical stuff, experiential stuff. Now, we can look at relevance for this car conversation in a couple of ways as it relates to academics and what we call the educational system from a Western culture standpoint. I can give you relevance from a place of time and importance. When something or someone is relevant, that person, idea, concept, movement, trend, the relevancy of the item or the person is going to be determined, or I would say one of the determining factors that emphasizes what's relevant or not is the time that it's introduced in. And when I say it, I'm talking about just basically an idea, movement. But what also determines relevancy is it important? Are they important? Is the person influential? So we're going to talk about relevance in direct connection to our kids and students, their academic progress and their behavior. Academic progress and behavior. realtalk.com. I give you this I'm gonna give you this scenario and then relate it to you. Especially with it being the beginning of the school year, this is extremely important, because if your child or if your student is in elementary and placing emphasis on middle school and high school, and the subject, the content, the information is not relevant to them, their behavior is going to be problematic. We see problematic behavior as behavior that we can see on the surface. We call it a potential theatrical behavior. It's behavior that we cannot easily identify that does not fall in alignment with the culture, the norms, and the rules of the school itself or school policy. That's problematic behavior on the surface. But there's problematic behavior that we don't see on the surface. It's internalized. If the content is not relevant as far as the time that is given to that student, which does influence the importance of it. And there's another factor that influences the importance of it too. We'll talk about that in a sec. The summary is that if it's not important or relevant to the student, you're going to see behavior externally, but you're also going to see behavior. You may not see this behavior internally because it may build up into a counterproductive behavior pattern, which we don't want, because that's going to influence if that child maximizes his or her full potential in all areas of life. So I'm gonna give you this statement. We're gonna blast off. We've already blasted off. Make sure you put your questions or comments in the comment section of this video, whether it be on YouTube, Facebook, wherever you see this video at. Share your feedback, share your comments, share your best practices, share some of your problems, share your opinions. It's open forum, open conversation. Now check this out. This debate is not going to end as far as who is the GOAT, who is the greatest of all time. Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. I would say most of us have Jordan as the GOAT. Close second, I would say, just, from my being alive in America, my opinion would be many people got LeBron then Kobe, or Kobe then LeBron. I think that people have more LeBron than Kobe. But the fact of the matter is this, and this is the question that I put on Facebook a couple of days ago. Would Michael Jordan achieve the status of GOAT, being considered the greatest of all time, if he would have only practiced according to the Bulls set schedule? Would he have achieved GOAT status? I want you to answer that question for me. You can put it in the comment section. You can answer it in your mind. You can talk to the video. Feel free, however you want to express yourself. Would Michael Jordan, would MJ, would Air Jordan accomplish or achieve GOAT status if he only practiced during the Bulls set schedule? And here's my response to you. Absolutely not. None of us can achieve the status of being considered as a GOAT in our profession, as a parent, as a colleague, as a friend, as an uncle, as an auntie, whatever role that you play on a daily basis, because we all play different roles. But if the activities associated with the role, the exercises associated with the role, if we don't go through the practice session, we will not be great. We will not be great. The question that you may be thinking about is, how is this relative to relevance? How is this connected to my child, whether they be in elementary with emphasis on middle school and high school? Why is this important for them? It's important because their educational journey, whether it be in the form of academics or in the form of interpersonal skills from a social and emotional standpoint, has to be connected to something that they love to do. If these attributes, if these components and characteristics that are emphasized in school is not connected to something that they love as far as a career pathway, They will not reach GOAT status. They will not. Because it's going to become laborious. It's going to become tedious. It's going to become work. And one of the statements that I will share with you is we need to stop going back to school, y'all. We need to stop going back. And what am I saying? What I'm saying is that we need to stop going back to the systematic nature and behavior and the ideology associated with school. Because once kids go back to school, for many of them, from my professional observation and assessment, is boring. They dread going back. Why? One reason is I don't see why this is important. Why am I learning this? Us as teachers, us as educators, us as parents, principals, superintendents, assistant superintendents, we got to be able to have organic, natural conversations with our children and students and help them connect the dots and help them see why this is relevant. I was in a conversation with a young lady who was getting ready to transition into high school. Well, she's a freshman now, it's her first year. She was not motivated to be a part of an athletic program because from her viewpoint, the athletic program is not good, which influences her motivation to be a part of it. And when I don't know her, you know, as well as I know some of my other students, because she has yet to, well, she's probably in the building now, but you know, school in this region has only been going for not even 2 weeks. When she shared what she shared, my first thought was, I understand your perspective. I understand what you think and how you feel. Connection. The power of connection always starts off with, I understand. And if I don't understand, I'm going to try to understand. I'm seeing where you're coming from. That's how you got to connect. We have to connect before we sow. We have to connect before we advise. So you know what, ma'am? I can see that. And I said to her, well, but you can be the person that can inspire change and improve this team that you probably going to be on. What young people don't see, and some people don't see, is anything that was great, it had to start out as something small. We didn't start out being great. We started out probably being trash. But in trash, there's learning. In trash, there's diamonds, rubies, and gems in trash. So we start from the bottom. We build a foundation. Now we're here as champions. Now we have to maintain and exceed our championship level. So that's just a best practice that we can use. Car conversation with Mr. Cage. Relevance. Let's close this conversation out for today. Hopefully and prayerfully you taking something from it. You sharing your comments. You sharing your questions. You sharing your best practices. So the key word going into this last piece of the conversation is practice. For our kids to practice these skills that are needed for them to reach optimal performance in their profession, for them to reach GOAT status, practice cannot be in the four walls of the school institution. That's a set time. So just as Jordan and the Bulls had a set time to practice, our kids and students have a set time to practice these skills from 7 to 3, 8 to 3:15, 8 to 3:30, 3:45. This is set time for them to practice. Set time. But that set time has to move beyond the set time. That set time has to move beyond the set time. Because if you talk with any athlete, any world-class athlete, any professional athlete, it's the quality of reps but it's the quantity of reps as well. How do we infuse this concept, this ideology, this methodology into our homes? It should be natural and it should be norm, but we first gotta ask the kids, what is it that you want to be as far as your profession? What is your career pathway? Then a higher level question is, what is it that you want to own? And I got that from my sister Zakia. She asked some young men that question a couple weeks ago, and she was facilitating a financial wealth workshop, and she asked them, what is it that you want to own? I was like, dang, that's a different type of question. That is a different type of question, but it's a question that needs to be asked. Because the type of question that we ask our kids can determine how many options that they are willing to explore. We need to ask our kids, what is it that you want to be? What do you want your life to look like when you become an adult? What's your interest? What's your passion? Once we can discover these interests and these passions, we can connect the profession to the skills, which is the subjects or the concepts or the best practices, everyday practices or transferable skills to the everyday living, which influences behavior. And I give people this best practice all the time. When a young person shares what their dream is and where they want to be, where they want to live, when they become an adult, I immediately ask them, what are you doing now to make your dream manifest into reality? Because if you're not doing anything in the now, your dream will become a nightmare. And that's a real conversation that needs to be had in the early stages of our child's development. Hey, this is Car Conversation with Mr. Cage, y'all. Relevance, relevance, relevance. We gotta keep the main thing in order for our kids to connect the dots. In order for them to connect the dots as far as what you learn and why is it important to you to learn this. Or else, they'll just go through the motions. And I don't believe any of our kids are mediocre. I don't believe any of them are. They are all unique. They are all fearfully and wonderfully made. However, we can subscribe to and settle for mediocre behavior if we allow them to have an average mindset or a status quo. Have an awesome weekend. Whenever you're watching this, or awesome week, we will converse very soon. And as always, I didn't forget, aim to be great at what you do. Or, I'm sorry, be great at what you do, but aim to be great at who you are.